Good evening. Thank you for joining me. So, Parshas Vaera. Let me first set the scene. That's really, really important. The context. What is happening here? We start off with a pasuk, Vayedaber Elokim el Moshe, Vayomer Elov Ani Hashem. But we first need to understand what has happened before this. Okay? If I speak too fast or I say something that's not clear, please, yes, jump in and ask. So, Hashem has asked Moshe Rabbeinu to be his agent, to be the shliach, and he is going to be the one to take us out of Mitzrayim. Moshe Rabbeinu doesn't want. He spends a week arguing with Hashem, and maybe tonight we'll discuss a little bit why. And finally, he agrees. He goes to Paroi and he delivers the big message. Hashem says, you've got to take my children out, and things only get worse. Paroi makes things worse. You're not even going to have bricks anymore. You have to go and get the straw and make the bricks yourself. And Moshe Rabbeinu is so upset. He is incredibly upset. At the end of Parsha Shiur, and he says to Hashem, Lama harei oisa la'am hazeh, lama zeh shlachtoni. Why have you done ra? Lama harei oisa. You have made ra, bad, schlecht. La'am hazeh, zum diesem Volk. Lama zeh shlachtoni. Warum hast du mir geschickt? And from the time that I have come to speak to Paroi in your name, things have only got worse. That is the Hintergrund, sagt man? That is the background, the context of before we start this parasha. Vayedaber Elokim el Moshe vayomer elov ani Hashem. So, Elokim speaks to Moshe and says to him, I am Hashem. What on earth is this pasuk about? Vayedaber Elokim el Moshe. God speaks to Moshe and he says, I am God. Let's do one more pasuk. Vaera el Avraham el Yitzchak ve'el Yaakov bekeil shakai. And I appeared. Wie sagen wir das auf Deutsch? Erscheint. Okay, I appeared to Avraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov bekeil shakai, using my name keil shakai, ushmi Hashem lo noidati lahem, and my name Hashem, I was not bekant to them with this name. Let's stop here for the moment, because there's so much that we need to unpack in this pasuk. Let's learn Rashi straight away. Okay? Vayedaber Elokim el Moshe. Rashi says the first thing we notice is that there are two names of Hashem mentioned in this pasuk. The first one is Elokim. The word Elokim is always used as to mean judgment, justice, din, harsh, strong, punishment. Diber itoy mishpat, says Rashi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke to Moshe Rabbeinu. He wasn't happy. He spoke to him mishpat. Al shehik shaladaber, because what did Moshe Rabbeinu say? Moshe Rabbeinu spoke strong to Hashem and said, Lama hareyosal amazeh, why did you do bad? Hashem spoke back to him and he said, Elokim, I'm not happy with you. Okay, so he's not happy with him. Fine. And so then what does he say? Vayomer elov, and he says to him, Ani Hashem. I am Hashem. What does that mean? Says Rashi, Ne'emon l'shalem sochar tov lemishalchim lefonai. Ne'emon, vertrau lish, sagt man? How do you say? I am loyal. Wie sagt man das? Loyal, aber mehr, das hat ein hello. It has a meaning of Ne'emon, hi, good evening. Of Ne'emon meaning, vertraulich, is that the right word? I can be trusted, you can rely on me. Wie sagt man das? Verlässlich. Thank you. Ne'emon. Says Rashi, we're doing Rashi. Did you bring a chumash? You didn't? Okay, no problem. I must remember next time I'll have some chumash ready. It's fine. You know what? Give me 30 seconds, I'll go and bring two chumashim. Otherwise, it's going to be... Hello?
Can I go?
Do you know where to go? No. I'll go.
Women's. Danke.
Robert, here's but without here machine.
Okay. Balagan. Good. Thank you. Okay.
I saw.
Okay, very good. So, says Rashi.
Do you need one? We have two.
Okay.
We have a lot.
She needs one as well.
Who? You?
Yeah. Alles good? Okay. Weiter. Okay, we are learning this week's parasha, which is Vaera. What page is it? Anybody got that?
My son's brush.
Oh, cool. Very nice. Okay. So, let's set the scene very quickly. Moshe Rabbeinu speaks to Hashem and says, you sent me to Mitzrayim and things have only got worse. This is not good. I'm not happy. So Hashem responds and he says to Vayidaber Elokim el Moshe. Elokim, says Rashi, is a term of God which refers to din, judgment, justice, harsh, not good. Well, yeah. So that's the first Rashi that we learnt already. And then, but what does he say to him? So Vayidaber Elokim el Moshe Vayomer Elov, and he says to him, hello, Ani Hashem. Now, that word Hashem is Yud Kei Vav Kei. So Elokim says to him, I am Yud Kei Vav Kei. You see what's going on? Says Rashi, who is Yud Kei Vav Kei? We read this word, we pronounce it Aleph Daled Nun Yud, right? That's how we read it. But that's not what it says. It says Yud Kei Vav Kei. If you're familiar with the Christian organization, which I will not pronounce the word because we don't read it, but Jay's Witnesses, you know what I'm referring to? Yes? Okay, I will refrain from being... But that is the word that is the word that, if they're very persistent, by the way, at your door, you can always say to them, please tell him I hope he wins his case. Never mind. Okay. Yeah, but say that. So, so he says, Ani Hashem. I'm going to, from now on, I'm going to use the word, if I may, the term Havaya. That's the way that it is used in, certainly in Hasidus or in Kabbalah. It would be written as Havaya, which actually means existence. It has within it past, present, and future. It means all of existence. Hashem just is. In fact, he's the only thing that just is. See, you and I'll just stop for a second to explain this very quickly because it's really important. This is the name of Hashem that we use, which describes his highest emanation within creation. Sorry, that's a bit of a mouthful, but that's really important. Whenever we talk about names, and remember we're learning Sefer Shemais, we spoke about this last week, names, usually in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh, a name is a definition. It doesn't just describe. It actually is the DNA of the thing itself, right? So the name Shem is the same as Shom, there it is. That's what it is. It's captured. That is what it is. Now here we have a problem, of course, whenever you talk about Hashem, a name of Hashem is never going to be what he is. Because if you could, you cannot give him a name. Because if you could, then that wouldn't be Hashem. He can't be captured. He can't be defined. He is above time, space, definition. So therefore, when we talk about names of Hashem, it's a whole different job. It is... I'll tell you the way that Ramosha Shapiri used to explain it. Let's say, for example, I say Aliyah, right? So in this community, I think there's only one Aliyah, am I right? I think so, as far as I'm aware. So when I say the word, when I'm speaking to you and I say Aliyah said, or using that word is a way of revealing who I am speaking about. Right? So the word, in fact, the word name, when we talk about Hashem, the idea is to reveal something. And etwas entdecken, no? Aufdecken. Etwas aufdecken. To reveal something about Hashem. Right? But, so no name of Hashem will ever reveal everything. His midot, we call it his midot. So, and that's why there'll always be a bit of a disconnect. And we wait for the time, Bayom hahu yeh Hashem echad u'shemo echad. The time will come when we will be able to join up the dots and we will reveal it as much as is possible will be revealed about him. For the moment, we have at different times, depending on how he relates to us, different aspects are revealed. Okay, so Havaya is the highest one, the deepest one, because it means existence itself, past, present, and future. But it means something else, says Rashi. Vayomer elov ani Hashem ani Havaya ne'emon l'shalem sochotov le'mishalchim lefonai. I am feleslish that I will do good. I will repay positively those. Look at the language. This language is going to be really important. I'm going to come back to it in a minute, and you've got it on your sheets. We'll see in a minute. I am feleslish l'shalem sochotov le'mishalchim lefonai. To who am I feleslish that I will pay them, give them good reward? To those who are mishalchim lefonai, those who walk by themselves in front of me. Let's see what that means. Okay, let's stop there a second. V'lo lechinom shlachticho, says Rashi. I didn't send you I didn't send you for nothing. Ki em lekayem devorai shedibarti la'avos harishonim. Your whole purpose, your tzvek, Moshe Rabbeinu, is to make sure that what I promised Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov is going to happen. So he is connecting what he's doing to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And we can stop there for the purposes of this, discussion. And let's try now and unpack what we have learned. But I need to tell you one more thing, which isn't on your sheets. It's a medrash. And let me tell you the following medrash. The medrash says as follows. Hashem says, when Moshe Rabbeinu complains, Hashem gets angry with him. And we'll have to see again, we've read and translated the Rashi, but I haven't given you the full picture. We need to see exactly what's going on here. Hashem says, chaval al da'avdin velo mishtakhin. Says the Medrash, oh, such a pity, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov are not here anymore. They're gone and they're not to be found. Because he says, I promised them many things and I did not deliver. I promised Avraham Avinu I would give him the whole land. And then he had to go and haggle with Ephraim to buy a few things to bury Sarah. I promised them so much and I did not deliver. V'loi hirharu acharei midoisai. They never once questioned me. Not verbally. Loi hirharu. Hirhur means to think. They never internally, they didn't question my things. And I give you one job and you don't get a result immediately and you're all annoyed with me. I miss Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. That's the medrash on this week's Parsha. Ask me a question. Come on. Let's do this classroom style. Ask me a question. There's an obvious question here on this medrash. Okay, I won't put you through it. But you'll over time you'll learn. Hopefully, you will become students, and we will learn. Torah is all about learning how to think and to question and to critically. Here's the question: Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, Hashem promised them things, didn't give them, and they kept quiet. Moshe Rabbeinu went for who? Himself? He's the prince of Egypt. He doesn't need anything. He's doing what a Jewish leader surely should do, which is puts himself on the line for his people. He didn't want to go. Hashem said, you must go. You've got to do this job. Why? You've got the qualities to do it, to be a Jewish leader. What does that mean? What does Moshe Rabbeinu do his whole life? He says, if you want to wipe out the Klal Yisrael and rebuild from me later with the Egel, he says, no, I want nothing to do with it. Wipe me out from the Sefer Torah. This is what he does. He's not fighting for himself. He's doing his job. Why was Hashem annoyed with him? And what comparison is that to Avram, Yitzchak and Yaakov? You hear the question? Such a simple question. This is how we need to think. You hear a Torah or a Medrash and stop and let's just drill down. Let's think about this a bit. That's not a comparison. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov were promised something for themselves. I'll give you the land. And then he personally had to go think for, okay, he doesn't question Hashem. Fine, very nice, tzaddik. Moshe Rabbeinu, what is Moshe Rabbeinu's job? Your job as a Jewish leader is to do anything, to look after your people, even argue with Hashem if necessary. He wasn't arguing for himself. He was doing it for them. That's the obvious question that many of the Mefarshim ask. I'll give you one simple answer, and then we'll go to something a little bit more complicated. You hear the question? Simple question, right? If we look in Rashi, Rashi says that Hashem spoke to him harshly because he said, Lomo harei oisa la'om hazeh. Why did you do bad with his people? And my father would tell me over in the name of Rabbi Lopian, he would say it in Yiddish, so I won't, but he would say, this is how it goes in Yiddish, you could say, when Hashem does something that's not nice, es kann sein schwer, aber schlecht, das ist nicht. It can be schwierig, it can be difficult, it was the use of the language. It wasn't, goes this answer, it wasn't that he fought. Of course Hashem expected him to fight and to, of course, but it was the use of the word ra. Hashem doesn't do bad, you should know that, Moshe. It's not, schlecht ist das nicht. Schwierig vielleicht, but not Islama harei oisa. To say to Hashem, you've done bad to these people, it was the choice of word. That's one answer, and there is a lesson in that, no question about that. As Rabbi Elia used to say, even when things are hard, people say to him, nu, wie geht's? Right? Was macht man, as we say? Es ist gut, es kann sein besser. It's okay, maybe it could be better, but to say it's bad, we don't say it's bad. That's one answer. But there's something a little bit deeper going on over here. And here, let's drill down and let's dig down to understand. And for this, we need the next pasuk as well. So, the first pasuk says, Hashem says to him, Hashem as Elokim. Elokim means, I'm not happy with you. Judgment. And he says to him this very message. Listen, there's one way of understanding it. He says, these are not two separate things. Elokim is speaking to him and saying to him, Ani Hashem. I am Rachamim, Yud Kei Vav Kei. The word Yud Kei Vav Kei is used to explain is Chesed, is Rachamim. And this is what he was saying to him. They're one and the same. You Vaidaber Elokim, even when you encounter something which is you don't understand, you don't like, and you don't have to like it. When you have something that happens to you that's not nice, you don't have to like it. But never forget, where is this coming from? Vaidaber Elokim and said, Ani Hashem. It's all coming from the one place which is Chesed, which is Rachamim. That's a simple explanation. But then he goes on a bit further. Vaera el Avraham el Yitzchak vel Yaakov bekel Shakai. I revealed myself to Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and I used a different name to them. And we want to spend a little bit of time understanding what is this name, Kel Shakai. That's the way we read it, right? Because it's the name of Hashem. Obviously, if I was reading the Torah, I would read it properly. But it's Kel Shakai. I revealed myself to them. Ushmi Havaya loy noidati lahem. But my name of Havaya, Yud Kei Vav Kei, I was not known to them. So what? What's going on? Says Rashi. Vaera el ha'avos. This is the most bizarre Rashi. Look, what does the pasuk say? Vaera, I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. Says Rashi wasn't bored, right? If he writes something, it's because I could have thought otherwise. He's got to tell me something. Look at this Rashi. I can't remember, many years ago, I think I saw one of the Hasidic Sfarim said this. Look at this Rashi. Vaera el ha'avos, I appeared to, Rashi writes, to the forefathers. Yeah, I know, it says in the pasuk, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. I know who they are. What's Rashi saying? Possibly suggested, I forget who it was, one of the Hasidic Rebbes. He's saying, Why did Hashem appear? Why did he have a relationship to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Because they were avos. Because the way they behaved and everything they did was they did for their children, for Klal Yisrael. They were conscious the whole time that they are building a spiritual building called Klal Yisrael. They, in every fiber of their being, they were avos. It wasn't just somebody called Abraham, somebody called Yitzchak, and somebody called Yaakov. They were, in their essence, they were avos, and that's what Rashi is telling us. Vaera el ha-avos. Only my relationship with them was because they behaved like avos, like fathers. Okay. Bekel Shakai, says Rashi, what's Kel Shakai? Hivtachtim havtochos. I made many promises to them. Ubechulon amarti lohem ani Kel Shakai. And with all of the promises, I said to them, I am Kel Shakai. This is the name I used. Ushmi Havaya loy noidati lohem. I was not known to them as Yud Kei Vav Kei as Havaya. Says Rashi, loy hoidati ein ksiv. It doesn't say here, I did not make myself known to them as Havaya. It says loy noidati. I was not known to them. What's the difference? Again, hoidati means I would actively make myself known as Havaya. That's not what it says. It says Hashem, loy noidati, it's passive. It's I was not known to them. What does that mean? Says Rashi, loy nikarti lohem b'midas amitus sheli. They did not experience me as who I really am. Havaya. They didn't experience me like that. They experienced a different Hashem, so to speak. One which works with Kel Shakai, which I need to explain to you what that means. With Kel Shakai. Havaya means Ne'emon L'ka'ames Devorai. Somebody who keeps his word. Emes, somebody who keeps his word. The always didn't experience that. They experienced something else. Fine. And here is where, and then the Pasuk goes on to say, I don't even know if we're going to get to it, the Pasuk goes on to say, and here we get the famous Psukim where Hashem says, and I'm going to bring you out of Mitzrayim, and here we get the 4 Lashonos Shel Gula. English is okay for you? Yeah? We'll say that. Okay. V'hitzesi, v'hitzalti, v'ga'alti, v'lokachti. That's coming up in the next few Psukim. So here is the thing. Says Hashem, let's try and summarize, and then we're going to go dig a little bit deeper. Okay? Says Hashem, I appeared to Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov with Kel Shakai. My name of Hashem, Havaya, which means to keep my word, to be emes, they did not experience me that way. So what? So what? And therefore now I am going to keep my word to them. Why are you going to come out of Mitzrayim? Because I promised them. V'gam hakimoisi es barisi, next pasuk. And I am now going to keep my promise to give them Eretz Canaan. And that's why you're going to come out. So those of us who did not experience me as somebody who keeps his word, now I'm going to show it. Oh, they're dead. But now I'm going to take their children out because of that. Okay? And that is really the flow of these psukim, and then we get the 4 expressions of Geula, etc. But we need to dig a little bit deeper here. Okay? Let's have a look at the sheet I've prepared for you, if that's okay with you. And let's look at a few things. So, on the sheet you have here a pasuk from Bereshis, number 1, is a pasuk from Lech Lecha. Vayhi Avram, and I've underlined a few things just to help us along and make it go a bit quicker. And Avram was 99 years old. Vaera Hashem el Avram. Vaera Hashem el Avram. And Hashem appears to Avram, Vayomer Elav, and he says to him, Ani Kel Shakai. I am Kel Shakai. Hishalech lefonai. Walk before me. Where have we heard that before? Very good, in the Rashi here. Do you see what Rashi's doing? He's subtly, he doesn't tell us this. I had to go digging. I remember that posuk. He doesn't tell us this, but wait. Do you see what's going on here? It's, in English would say, it's a coda. It's a schema. There's something, there's a subtext here. But wait, we're not finished. His halech lefonai, go in front of me, veheye tomim, and be perfect. And this is when he commands him to do bris milah. Okay? I put it to you that this pasuk here is almost the exact opposite of our pasuk. In our pasuk, we have, yes, Hashem says, Ani Hashem, I am Havaya. Elohim speaks to him and says, I am really Havaya. And I appeared to the Ovois, however, I appeared to the Ovois as Keil Shakai. Really, I am Havaya. But I appeared to the Ovois Bekeil Shakai. Now look at this pasuk. Here we have Vaera Havaya el Avraham, and he says, Ani Keil Shakai. Do you see that it's the exact opposite of our pasuk? And this is a question. This is a question. Again, the pasuk here is saying, Hashem is saying to Moshe, look, you've had a bit of a setback, you're not happy. What have you done? So I have Elohim. You should know that it's all one and the same. Really, I am Hashem. Really, I am Havaya. At my root, everything is good. I appeared to the Ovois as Keil Shakai. I didn't let them know my name Hashem. Havaya, they did not know. They didn't experience a God who says something and it becomes true. All they experienced was Keil Shakai. And you're now going to see, the whole picture. But let's look at this pasuk. This pasuk says, Vaera Havaya el Avram. Havaya appeared to Avram. Who appeared to Avram? Havaya. The very thing that Rashi said he kind of didn't happen, we see here, did. Havaya appears to Avram and he says, by the way, my name is Keil Shakai. So what's going on? What's going on? One more pasuk, and this is from Yaakov, when he blesses Yosef, source number 2. Vayivarachas Yosef, Vayomer, and he says, Ha Elokim, asher hishalchu avoisai lefonav Avraham v'Yitzchak, Ha Elokim, haroya oisi me'odi ad hayom hazeh. He refers to Elokim, not Havaya, not Keil Shakai. Elokim is din, right? Midas hadin, which is probably even more than Keil Shakai. And we still have to explain what Keil Shakai exactly means. But look how Yaakov, as he's about to die, describes how his father and grandfather behaved. He's talking about his father, Yitzchak. He said, Asher hishalchu avoisai lefonov Avraham v'Yitzchak. And by the way, this is the pasuk just before Hamalach HaGoyel Oisi. It is the very next pasuk. I didn't include it. How does he describe this is Yaakov describing the relationship that Avram and Yitzchak and he has with Hashem. Number one, they related to him as Elohim, judgment, justice, din, not Havaya, that's fine. But how does he say what they all did was Hishalchu avoisai lefonov. They all walked before him, in front of him. And another word, look at the other word in the pasuk here, Horoye oisi, who shepherds me. Who walks in front, the sheep or the shepherd? The sheep. The sheep walk in front. That's the meaning of it over here. Horoye oisi. But the sheep walk in front because they know there's a shepherd behind. So they are hishalchim lefonai. They're walking in front of Hashem. In this case, obviously it's figurative. They're going on their own, but they know he's there behind him. But they don't see him. When you're walking in front of the shepherds behind, you don't have eyes in the back of your head. This is it. I'm blind in the sense of it's Elohim, it's judgment, it's justice. They experienced difficulties in their lives. Now, there were some miracles that they experienced, and we're going to come to that in a minute, but they were at a whole different level, and they operated differently, and they experienced Hashem totally differently. And here's the key point. Here's the key point. There are many psukim, by the way, in Bereshis. I was going to print them out, but you can just trust me. I can send you the sources afterwards, where both Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov refer to Hashem as Havaya. They directly refer to him as Havaya.
Maybe it's one from the Avot to Hashem, and the other side is from Hashem to Avot.
Interesting. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I like that. And that's kind of what Rashi is saying. Let's elaborate on that. Yes. Shmi Hashem lo noidati lohem. That's what Rashi is saying. My name Havaya, that which is Rachamim, which is that I keep my word, which is a much clearer way of seeing who Hashem really is. Lo noidati lohem. They knew that I existed. They sometimes referred to him as Havaya, but they didn't experience that. They were hishalchim lefonai. They went blind, so to speak. And Hashem, so to speak, was behind them. Haroya oisi. They experienced Keil Shakai. They experienced Elokim. They knew there was Havaya. They knew that. But here's the key point. Go back to the Medrash. Lo hirharu. They didn't even think. In their mind, they had a level of emunah which was incredible. We, most normal people, at some point anyway, need to see the result. You promise something, I need to see that. They didn't. Hashem promised me, okay, that's all I need. I don't actually need, do you hear the depth? I don't need the result. I don't need to see or experience it. It's not a problem. It's not a drawback. Because if Hashem says something's going to happen, it will. Maybe in my lifetime, maybe not. My grandchildren, great-grandchildren, it doesn't matter. They had such a level of emunah, and it did pay off. Umatzasa es levavoi ne'eman lefon. We say every day in davening, right? Men do, at least, if you say Vaera David. At the end we say, Umatzasa es levavoi ne'eman lefonecha. Hashem chose Avraham because he found his heart to be ne'eman. And therefore he made a covenant with him to give him Eretz Yisrael. All the Avos needed was Hashem said something. That's it, finished. It wasn't even a thought. Never mind an action. Hashem tells me to go and shech my son, fine. I know he doesn't want me to do it, but that's what he's told me to do. I just have to do what he says. There was no thought that went against that. That was what they experienced. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, listen carefully with this. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, we are now entering a new phase of existence. We need to get to Torah. Torah is revelation. Torah is it's the next stage was Aufdecken. That is what Torah is. Torah is the revelation of who Hashem really is. For example, let me try and explain this. In other words, the time has come for something else. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying. Let me give you a way of explaining this. They knew it because they didn't need. It made no difference to the Avos. I mean, think about it this way. To them, it would make no difference whether Hashem did or didn't actually then do it. Hashem said, and that's it. That's all I know. I'm good. I don't even need to see the outcome. I'll tell you, I'll lighten the tone a little bit. The Haftorah, which is it? Is it Chaisara? The Haftorah of, do you know the story of the Shunamis, the woman who has a child? The Navi promises her a child. She has a child, and the child dies, and then the Navi comes and brings it back to life. There's a really interesting thing. I don't have it in front of me, but Rabbi Aryeh Levine's wife, they used to learn together Friday night, and there's a very big difference between the Sfardim and Ashkenazi Haftorah, the way we say the Haftorah. The Sfardim have the Haftorah, that Haftorah, the same story, but they stop as soon as the child is dead. With Ashkenazim, our Haftorah, the Ashkenazi Haftorah, goes all the way until the child's brought back to life. And she asked her husband, she asked Rabbi Aryeh Levine, she said, what's the point of that? So he said, very beautifully, he said, the Sfardim don't need to see them coming back to life again. It's enough. It's good. They have the emunah pshuta. It'll be okay. So I don't see the end. Doesn't matter. They excel in emunah pshuta. We Ashkenazim, we need to see the end. We need to see the kid coming back to life, so to speak. It's only a mashal. It's a beautiful idea. Kind of similar thing. It came into my mind. I didn't prepare this. It just came into my mind. The Avos, it made no difference. Once Hashem has said it, to them that's a reality. Game over. If Hashem said something, that's it. That's a reality. When it actually happens in the physical world, it doesn't add anything to their emunah. It's already complete. But But now we are entering, Yetzias Mitzrayim has to lead to Torah. What is Torah? Torah is Aufdecken, Hashem's connection to the world. It has to be revealed. We have to see it. And that's what Moshe was saying. We need to see this. Because this is how you want to relate to the world now. Let me prove it to you a little bit. I'll try. When we say a bracha before we learn Torah, why do we say a bracha before we learn Torah? We learn it from a pasuk. Do you know what pasuk it is? I can play teacher again. It'll be such fun. Never mind. All right, there's no thing. Do we have es gibt is there a marker here? Isn't there use the whiteboard?
If you press this button, here, this button, no, on this, yeah. Then you can use
forget
the
it.
whiteboard.
I just want to know. I'm old-fashioned. Never mind.
But it's quick.
Yes? Well, where is it?
Just a second. Just
Yeah.
a second.
Okay.
It's not quick enough.
All right, never mind. Never mind. So, okay. So there's a pasuk. You know, we say in Bresson. Now I can do it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
What? Whiteboard.
There we go.
Yes.
So we say the pasuk is. You know, we say in Bresson Torah we say. V'yodei shemecha. So the pasuk goes as follows: Kishem Hashem ekra. The pasuk in Ha'azinu, Havu Godel Lelokeinu. Yes, Havu Godel Lelokeinu. And it means as follows: when I read the name of Hashem, give greatness to our God. What does that mean? Says the Gemara in Brachos. From this pasuk we learn that you cannot learn Torah before you make a bracha. Well, how do you see that in the pasuk? The pshat is as follows. The Torah, how do you know what I'm thinking? Because I'm speaking. And hopefully it's something that I'm thinking about. It is, the concept of speaking is the revelation of what's going on inside of me. It's bringing out, it is aufdecken what's going on inside. Not my, it's, and that's connecting the inner and the outer world, right? That's what speech is. That's the essence of being a man, of being a human being. The Torah is the revelation of what Hashem wants us to know about Him. That's how we discover. How do you know who or what Hashem is or what He thinks or what He wants? Only through Torah. The purpose of Torah is to reveal to us what's going on in Hashem's mind, so to speak. And that is called Shem Hashem, the name of Hashem. So Kishem Hashem Ekra, when I read the name of Hashem, what's the name of Hashem? The Chumash, that's what it is. Because what is the name? The name is to tell me, to reveal what Hashem is thinking. That's how do I know? I know it through, that is what Torah is. It is not to keep it hidden, to bring it out. So when you read the name of Hashem, Havu Godel Elokeinu, then recognize, give it greatness, and that's meaning acknowledge what you're doing is something amazing, and it's an incredible zchus to be able to connect to the mind of Hashem. You have to know that you're doing that. And that's why we make Birchas HaTorah. So the whole concept of shame is to reveal. You understand? So, how do we get to this? Yes, so the Avos, it's true. The Avos were at a stage where their emunah, that was it. They didn't need any more. But we're about to leave Mitzrayim on the way to being given the Torah. The Torah is all about revelation, and therefore we need to see, we need to understand. You have to show it to us. That's what was going on. What? Let me tell you one or two more ideas here. The words Kael Shakai. So we need to understand what is Kael Shakai. So there are two main explanations of what Kael Shakai means. And let me share them with you. One is as follows. Kael Shakai, says the Gemara, say Chazal, Kael Shakai, She'omarti la'oilami dai. Shakai is She'omarti la'oilami dai. I said to my world, Genug, stop, enough. What does that mean? So the Chazal explain as follows. It means when Hashem was creating the world, it gives a mashal of like, if you have like cotton, two things of cotton, two rolls of cotton, thread, small thread, right? And it's running away. It's running away. And Hashem says, stop, die, enough, no more. What does that mean? Enough. It means as follows. There were Asara Ma'amoros. The world was created with 10 Vayomers, right? 10 times Hashem spoke. Each time Hashem, how do I rub this off? With this? Yeah, like this? Yes. Ooh. 10 times Hashem spoke. Now what does that mean? He's revealing something else. He's revealing something else. Each time, Vayomer, let there be light. Each of these are different forces, a different koyach in the world, right? 10 is a very interesting number, says the Maharal, because 10 can be two things. It can either be 10 different things, or it can be a unit of 10. That's your choice of perspective. Get that? Again. We have a binary system, right? Ones and zeros, right? 10. Now, why 10 is another story.
Yeah.
Why it should, but Lamaisa it is. We have a system which works with tens, hundreds, thousands, not nines, not eights, not. Now, why 10 davka is another story, and there's many, many different tens in creation which correspond to this, which we don't have time to go into. But let's assume that a 10, when we teach our kids maths, also we teach them a 10 is also a unit. It's 1, 10. So either you have a choice of perspective. It's either 10 totally different things, or it's a unit. And this is the challenge. 10 times Hashem Vayomer, Asara Ma'amoros. Now when you've finished, you have a choice. You can look around the world and see there's light, there's heat, there's gravity, there's magnetism, there's this, there's that, everything pulling in lots of different directions. Or you have a choice of perspective to say there is one thing behind everything, which is Hashem. That's your choice. 1 or 10. You got it? That is your choice. And when he said die, he means now it is the Goldilocks universe, meaning it is just right. Any more Vayomers, it would be too hard to find me. Any less, it would be too easy. It's just right. That's the emes. You with me? She'omarti la'ilami, die. Stop, just there. And now you have a choice. How you perceive the world and how. Now, then what happened was as follows. So you had the Asara Ma'amoros, 10 Vayomers. Then came along the Mitzrayim, and with their power of Tumah, they started covering them all up. They started making it harder and harder and harder to see Hashem. Right? Through all the terrible things that they did. To the point that we now are in a situation where we are not just in physical golus, we're in spiritual golus. If we get time, I'll say a little bit more about it. Spiritual golus. We are losing our connection. Our Pintaliyid is just about there. So Hashem has to reverse it. How does he reverse it? With the Eser Makos, the 10 plagues. These 10 plagues correspond to the 10 statements with which he created the world. It has to undo it. And therefore, like an onion skin, the first one that you peel off will be the outermost one. So the last, and there are Sfarim who explain this. I'll give you one or two very quickly. We'll do number 9 and number 10. What was the first statement of the Asara Ma'amoros when Hashem created the world? You won't guess it, so I'll tell you. It's Bereshis bara likimas hashamayim v'sa'aretz. Bereshis bara And the Gemara asks, the Gemara says, whoa, he didn't say Vayomer. He didn't say Vayomer, and the Gemara says it doesn't matter. It's a statement, it's just a statement of existence. Okay? Bereshis is the first one. So the last one of the Makkos is Bechoros, beginning, the first. The second one is there should be light. So of course the penultimate one is the Makkah of Choshech. And so on. You see that? The Ramam Ivano and others explain. The Mekubalim go through all of them in detail. Once we're done with that, we then get the Aseres HaDibros, which takes these and moves them up from being Ma'amoros to being Dibros, which is another whole shmooze, what the difference is, but they're the same thing. And by the way, they correspond. So the first one, which is the mitzvah of Emunah, is not a command, it just says, Onochi Hashem Elikecha, I am, hello, I exist. And that corresponds directly just to the statement of Bereshis, Zolavayomer. It's a statement that's Havaya, it's just a statement of reality of existence. I am. I just am. And therefore you can't command really emunah in the classic sense, because you can't command somebody to believe something, because either they do or they don't. It's just a statement. It's a statement of reality, a statement of existence. I hadn't intended saying any of that, it just came out. But, you with me?
I didn't understand the first and tenth.
The what?
The first and the tenth. I didn't understand it. It's both relations.
Bechorot, Makat Bechorot.
Die Erstgeborene.
Yeah.
Und ist da ist auch
That's very good, that's the point.
But or and Hoshech is the opposite. And
Correct.
Here is,
Well, who is the first? The first is the first of
it's
the
not always the opposite.
Well, it's Mikach Kedusha, Mikach Hatum, it's the same concept.
I'm not the
Yeah. By the way, I mean, you want to go into this? Okay. So the Maral says the word Bechor is all the twos, 222. It's all the twos, duality. This is Bereshit. No, it's two, all the twos. Bechor, even though you only have one Bechor, but it is B'ni Bechor Yisrael. It's about the understanding that there is something which challenges the Bereshis. Bereshis is there's one Makor to everything. Bechor in some way is a challenge to that, which is why we had to be Mekadosh them when we left Egypt. Okay, it's never mind. But that was where they saw their power, which was which when Paro himself was a Bechor. That's how they saw their power going against HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who is in charge? Is it Paroi or is it Hashem? That's what it's all about. And Hashem is coming to say, finally, Ani. And that's why, by the way, the last Makkah is no Shliach, no Malach, no Sarof, no nothing. Me, Ani Hashem, Ani Hu v'lo yacher. As we say in the it's the same as Anochi Hashem Elikecha, a revelation of there is just me. Nothing else exists. Havaya, I am existence itself. Anyway, how do we get onto that? How do we get onto that? Let's try and put it. Let me try and take it somewhere a little bit. I don't know, practical maybe. So that was one explanation. Okay, we got to that through Kel Shakai.
No.
So where we are now we're in a very interesting place, because we are now in a. Let me put it to you this way. I think we mentioned it last week. I don't remember. There are 4 classic stages of Golus, right? Bovel, Modai, Yovon, and Edom. Which, by the way, I saw this week. I want to share it with you because I asked the question last week. Remember, we said, "Ve'ela b'nei Yisrael, haboim Mitzrayma," who are coming now. What do you mean, who are coming? They came. No, haboim, Bovel, Edom, Yovon, Modai. You see that? You see that? Ha-bo'im, Bovel, Edom, Yovon, Modai, bo'im. Because Mitzrayim was the prototype of all of the Goluyos. That means we are experiencing in some way a Mitzrayim, an aspect of it, which then manifested in either a Bovel, an Edom, a Yovon, or a Modai, which is why Moshe Rabbeinu is also found, Moshe Rabbeinu is... Okay. Moshe Rabbeinu is found the first time. The Gemara says, where do you find Moshe Rabbeinu in the Torah? What a strange Gemara. What do you mean, where do you find Moshe Rabbeinu in the Torah? Where don't you find him? Answers the Gemara, because you find him b'shagam hu basa by Parshas Noach. B'shagam is the gematria of Moshe. Oh, what's going on? What's water got to do with it? Water's a big theme in Moshe Rabbeinu, because the neshamos, the Mekubalim tell us, the neshamos of at the Dor HaMabul were born again in the Mitzrayim, and just before Mashiach, it's the same neshamos. And it's all the same theme, and therefore that's why we need to understand what happened in the Dor HaMabul, what happened in Mitzrayim, because those are the themes happening in society today. Now go and read the news, and now you'll begin to understand a little bit. I don't say much more. And that's why water is a big theme. Water is, what is water? Water is always in the plural, mayim, never in the singular, because it's just free-flowing. No restraints, no boundaries. Just fits the contours of any keli you put it in. Think about what's happening in society. Mayim is always tava, always. Let us... Where do we go from here? So, Kael Shakai. Kael Shakai is Hashem who says, just so, just so. But that's limitations. Havaya, says the Ramban, and I've printed them out here for you, we're not even going to get to learn them. Yud Kei Vav Kei Havaya is something that is above that. You see, let me explain. When we experience Hashem through our actions, through what we deserve, then there are limitations. But when we experience Hashem as He, for who He is and what He wants to do, there are no limitations. It doesn't matter whether you deserve or you don't deserve. With the Avos, the relationship was based on Kael Shakai, die. There are boundaries. There is one thing for which there are no boundaries, and that is Hashem's rachamim. And that's what they needed to experience now. They were now going to experience, even though they did not deserve to come out, they had to experience Hashem turning the world upside down. And the Ramban explains the main difference is, with the Avos, Hashem didn't change nature for the Avos. Now, I know you might have certain questions on that. I can answer them, but not now. He didn't fundamentally change nature. He did good stuff for them, even Nissim, but then none of them denied Teva altogether. We are now going to experience something where there is no explanation, where you can put your straw, an Egyptian and a Jew can put their straw in the same cup, and one has water and one has blood. That is... What was the purpose of that? That was Ani Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, Havaya. I am existence. There are no rules. And if there are no rules and I'm doing it because this is what I want to do, you don't need to be deserving. That's the point. No? You get it for nothing. Because it's coming from Hashem, because He wants us to understand the relationship that He has with us. And that is Havaya. I want to give you, and therefore there's no limit. And therefore, even though we were at a stage, even though at a stage we didn't deserve to come out, it was a total chesed. That's what He wanted us. The basis of our emunah. What is the basis of our emunah? That Hashem created heaven and earth? No. Anochi Hashem Elokecha Asher Hotzesicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. That's how He wants us to know Him. Now, creating heaven and earth from nothing is probably a much neater party trick. Creating time and space than taking us out from Egypt. But He wants to know us as a relationship. Asher Hotzesicha me'eretz Mitzrayim. And I am Havaya. I will turn over heaven and earth. For a whole year, I will mess with Paroi. I'll make fun of him. I will show you how there is really at its root, there's no such thing as Teva. At its root. And there's no way of physically explaining any of this. That's the difference between Havaya and Kael Shakai. Kael Shakai, I related to the Avos, there were limits. Yes, I did listen to them, but there were limits. We now have to experience something totally different, which is called Havaya. And that is, in a nutshell, that is what begins to happen over here. Probably stop here. This just really be getting going. This is, I didn't say, I suppose, even half of what I wanted to say on there's not much you can do. We can do more than one or two psukim. What do we take away from here? What do we take away? Let's try and get some take home. The take home is as follows: that the purpose of Yetzias Mitzrayim was to establish that we needed to experience, unlike the Avos, we're walking towards the giving of the Torah, which is a revelation. That's Shem Hashem, which is what Torah is. So Hashem wants us to have an understanding at some level of who we are. So when we stand on Matan Torah and he splits open the heavens and we see Anochi Hashem Elokecha, we see that Ein Oid Milvadoi. We see there is nothing else. Actually, in reality, there is nothing other than Hashem, really. And we experienced it through coming out of Egypt that we did not deserve. We were in a very, very low, as you know, a very low spiritual state. That doesn't matter, because Hashem just he loves you and he wants to give to you. And we needed to experience him as Yud-Kei Vav-Kei, as Havaya, as total existence, because that then now becomes the basis of our relationship with him, not the relationship of the Avos, which was limited, which was Keil Shakai. For them it was Emunah, for us it becomes Torah. But the Torah without the basis of their Emunah can't happen either. They built us up towards that. And that is kind of the beginning of the flow. And we have these four, and by the way, also these four words that we use for Geula also correspond to the four stages of Golus. Whenever you always need to understand this, whenever you come across an important number, it will always correspond pretty much to every. So, for example, it also corresponds to the four letters of Hashem, the Yud Kei and the Vav Kei. So, Hoitzeisi, V'hoitzalti, V'goalti, V'lokachti. V'hoitzeisi is to take us out from Bavel. V'hitzalti is to save us, our very existence, Haman. V'goalti, to redeem us, is Yavon. And then V'lokachti ultimately will be when we get out of Edom. It's all there. It's all there in there, and that becomes the four cups, etc., etc. That's the beginning. Okay, we've made a start.